All right, welcome to the 2004 Southland Conference Soccer Media Day. We're here with Lamar head soccer coach Nathan Kogut and Alaniz as the reigning Southland champion Lamar University soccer team prepares for the upcoming 2024 season. We got a lot to talk about, but Coach, I'll start with you. The season has finally arrived. What are the vibes around this team as of right now?
I think the vibes are pretty good. Our team came back at the end of June, beginning of July, and it allowed us to start the stuff we were doing in preseason at a higher level, and I feel like the group is better connected than they've been in the past. I feel like the level we've trained at has been a lot better. The standard's been a lot higher. We're able to layer a lot more things in at this point than we have in the past. I think that this group is one that I enjoy being around, and I feel like they really enjoy being around each other, and that says a lot.
What's been the big thing that you've seen throughout this preseason of this team up to this point?
It's definitely the level. Like, the level has been a lot higher. We really don't have those one or two kids that are super behind, and that we're gonna have to be catering to all of that. The level's been exceptionally high. We could roll out a lot of different lineups if we really wanted to. Just how prepared they've been and ready to play. I think they understand the level that we demand. I think they understand the expectations, and I think that we've been able to really lock in on who we want to be and what we want to do earlier than we have the last couple of years.
Aurelia, how fun has it been to be back on the field, compete with your teammates, and get it ready for the season?
It's been really fun. You know, this is what we all work for the whole year, pretty much coming back, being able to be with each other. And we came back in July for workouts in the weight room and also captain-led practices, and it's just been amazing being able to work with them. And like Nathan said, we do have a very talented team, so it makes it even better.
What are some things from your perspective that you've seen from this team to this point of preseason that makes you really like about this team?
Team chemistry has been so much better than it has been the past couple of years, and like he said, there's not really many players that are far behind when it comes to the level. I think the freshman class has done an amazing job, as well as the transfers, and then all the returners, of course. Everyone's done really well.
Nathan, of course, obviously you've lost some key players from last year. You think of Holly, you think of Nicole and Carriel, just to name a few as well, but you've also made up more than that by bringing in all these newcomers from transfers to freshmen. Just kind of talk about them as a whole and how they have bought into this program and what you expect from them for this upcoming season or up to now.
You don't replace players like that just straight up. You don't go one for one. And so what we've really tried to do with our newcomers is they don't have to be a Holly or a Carriel, Kaiser, Nicole. They just have to be themselves. And so with our newcomers, the big thing has just been be yourself and what are you about, and kind of show us why we wanted you here in the first place. And I think that that's allowed them to be a step ahead. They don't have to go replace this 22 to 23, 24-year-old woman. They just have to be themselves. And across the board, our newcomers have stepped in, and I think the level that they were at before they got here says a lot about the level that they've come in at. And I think that they have taken really well to what we've asked of them.
Certainly the last few years have been very successful for Lamar. I mean, we can talk about back-to-back conference champions, regular season and tournament-wise, but it also does kind of make you the team to beat in the Southland Conference play. So how do you keep your team kind of level-headed to where they have to focus that, hey, we're going to be getting everyone's best shot to try to knock us off?
I do think we embraced it a little bit. I do think we talk about it, but at the end of the day, it's a new year, and we try to start in January just with a reminder of we aren't the 23 team, we aren't the 22 team, we're the 2024 team. And to be totally honest, we really do try to keep all of that separate. We just don't talk about it. We understand that it's a privilege to play here. The level and that we're going to play at, the teams that want a piece of us, it's a privilege. Not everybody gets that. And so if they can buy into that, then the other stuff sort of falls into play. So we don't really talk about that outside of, the next game is always the biggest game, and that's how we treat it. So it's one of those things where we sort of discuss a little bit, but we know that we're going to get everybody's best shot, whether we were the 10th place team or the first place team. And so we just we just go about our business that way.
Aurelia, you are one of the veteran leaders on this team. What are you hoping to provide for your teammates, particularly the newcomers, on a leadership basis that they can use for the future of this program?
Right now, the most important thing to me, for sure, is just taking care of the little details. I think that something that's made our program very successful is we are very serious about like not being late, taking care of the little things, pumping balls. And I know to some people it might not sound like a big deal, but I think taking care of the little details is what makes you a successful program. And also just our team chemistry, being nice to each other and encouraging each other. And one of my biggest things is also for them to believe in themselves and like, you're here for a reason. I always tell them, if you don't get playing time or the playing time that you're getting, like you're still here for a reason. So just to believe in yourself.
Coach, obviously Aurelia is a big part of this team. Just kind of talk about how important she has been to this team, from not only for last year, but what she hopes to bring for this upcoming season as well. I mean, because, you know, she's a reigning defensive player, conference player of the year as well. Just kind of talk about the importance from her, not only on the field, but also off the field.
We are not as far along as we are this preseason if Aurelia's not one of our captains. And I think that I told her that within the first couple of days of preseason. And I think that that says a lot about what she's done and who she is. We aren't who we are if we don't have her. And the growth that she has made from, you know, we were actually talked about this last week, who she was the first game or two of our time here to who she is now. She's a totally different person. You know, she's the growth that she's had on and off the field. It's just, she's a shining example of this is who we want our student athletes to be. You know, this is the potential that you have. This is who you can be. But you have to put the work in. You know, Aurelia didn't just become Aurelia by showing up every single day and just going through the motions. She's always in the training room. She's always trying to get extra help. She's always asking for stuff on film. You know, she is constantly asking questions. She's that person that you want your freshmen to be right away instead of waiting until they're 21 years old. And so it's a privilege to have somebody like her that guides your team and leads your team. But, you know, she's also that person that, you know, you can put a lot of responsibility on her shoulders and she's going to be able to handle it. And honestly, the best trait is the honesty. She has the ability to send me a text message or walk into the office and let me know how she's feeling or how the team is feeling, and we can have a conversation about it. We may not like the message that we're getting, but we can listen to each other. And I think that honesty and dialogue is, you don't get that a lot between players and coaches unless you work at it. And I think it's a privilege to have somebody like that on our team right now.
Aurelia, what are you looking for individually from some of your goals that you look to hopefully have from your perspective individually and also as a team? So what are some of the goals that you are striving for?
Individually, I would say I have been on the conference team, so that is my goal, being on hopefully first team. And I do want to get a Defender of the Year again this year. As a team, I mean, of course, we want to win the conference again, and I know that's going to take every single player on this team. We do want to make it to the NCAA tournament and hopefully get past the first round. I think we have the players and everything that it takes to be able to do that, so that is some of my goals.
And of course, Coach, season starts on Thursday, and as it turns out, your first game is against a pretty big one, Texas A&M, 25th ranked nationally, coming into Beaumont as well. Now, when you have a nationally ranked program come to Lamar and be your first opponent for this season on the schedule, what does that say about this program as far as earning the respect of those opponents to where they call you up and say, hey, we want to come down to Beaumont, we want to play you, instead of having it mostly the other way?
I think it's a privilege. You know, it is a testament to what previous groups have done. This group hasn't done anything yet, but it does show you how highly thought of that they are. We saw it in our spring schedule, the teams that want to play us, the teams that have asked to play us. This is the second consecutive year that we've had a ranked team come to Beaumont. And I think that it's a privilege and an honor that's what we've been able to set up and build. We're not just a bye game. We're not just we've got to show up and play a Power 5 game. You know, this game is important to A&M because it'll help them at the end of the year just like it'll help us. And it's a responsibility that we don't take lightly. It definitely makes it easier to start preseason when you know in 15 days what's showing up. So it's exciting, it's an honor, but I mean, I think I've used the word privilege a few times. That's really what it is. It's a privilege that we get. That not a lot of teams are afforded, and we get to open the year at home in front of our fans with a pretty big game.
Aurelia, any thoughts about this starting the season off against Texas A&M?
I think it's a pretty challenging team. Some players may be nervous, but I think that a lot of people normally underestimate us, and they don't realize that just because we are in a smaller conference, like that doesn't mean that we can't play with them or even beat them. We did it last year against Xavier, and I'm ready to prove people wrong this year.